Hello and namaste everyone. I hope everyone is doing good and healthy. Welcome to our seventh episode of Youth Sustainability Dialogue. I am Prakhar Gupta, your host for the series. So today we are going to talk about the goal three of sustainability development goals, and that is good health and well-being. So today we are going to dig deep into that and talk a lot about that with a guest. That is Today we are going to host Surabhi Bisht. She is a young change maker, a youth entrepreneur, a yoga trainer, and a nutritionist. So welcome Surabhi to a session.
Hi, Prakhar. Thank you so much for having me here.
Great. So how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. So, Surabhi, as we all know that this session is revolves around youth sustainability dialogues, and as we all know that the goal three of YSD is related with good health and well-being. So, since you're related with this field, let's start with the introduction first, and we will move on with that later on. So, uh, like, uh, would you like to tell us about yourself to our audience?
Mm, Yeah, so okay, I'll just start with how I got connected with yoga. So it actually begins when I was in school. So my mom, she actually bought a book, a yoga book, and that was the very first time when I got into yoga. So I used to go through that book, and then I'll just see, acha ye asana hai, so I'll just do that. So that's how it started, and sooner and later I just realized that okay, this is something that I enjoy, and also it makes me, the temperamental change you start seeing. So it kind of calms you down. So that's how yoga became a part of my life. But when I was in college, then I thought maybe I should go and do some certification, some official, like proper education in the field. So yeah, like then I started doing some certification, and after that, more certification, and after doing a little bit more of education in that, then I worked in a clinic, an Ayurveda clinic, and there I get to, know about how yoga can really help people with some like issues, like major issues that could be physical ailment or mental ailment. So like there's so many different ways yoga can be applicable in people's life. Yeah, so that's how I got associated with yoga.
Yeah, so Subhi, what are the certifications that you have in yoga, and how do you come up with the Ayurveda, that part of your life?
Well, Ayurveda, I worked there. I worked in a clinic, so it's
Hmm.
like a workspace. So
Okay.
in yoga, I first started off with like certification, then I went for diploma, then later on, after practicing and teaching, I get into teacher training too. So then my teacher training is specifically in pre and post natal yoga. And along with
Okay.
that, I also got into nutrition. So with that, also I did certification in nutrition. So yeah, I mean, big because these all are interlinked, as you also said, sustainability.
Right.
So health, exercise and nutrition, it has to go hand in hand. You cannot just exercise and completely, forget about nutrition, or you cannot just do follow a good diet and not exercise at all. So it has to go hand in hand. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot do one thing. You have to do both together. Yeah.
Yeah, and also we what we all see is that there are many definitions regarding yoga that
Mhm.
and I feel that everybody defines yoga like they want. So what definition of yoga do you have? Like how do you define yoga and about that?
To me, yoga is it's like a work in progress. Like if I see, like through my own experience of my own practice, I see how it has changed a lot with time. So when I first started, it was all like doing some crazy asanas which would look cool on Instagram maybe. And then I slowly realized, okay, that may just wreck up my body in long run. I should be more, sustainable in terms of my yoga practice too. Taking care of the body in that sense. And now, I mean, funny enough, you also get the touch of spirituality. You will start, uh, you just start relating to things that you never thought you would. Like for me, spirituality was a really random thing, but with yoga you feel more connected to your own self as well. And it's not just a physical practice, it is so holistic in so many dimensions. It really helps with the temperament, as I mentioned. It really helps with the mental well-being, because you became less reactive when it
Hmm.
comes to yoga. You became more grounded. You start to feel your emotions in a much better way, not being reactive in that sense. So yeah, to me it's more of a um, I would say amalgamation of physical, mental, and emotional practice, because it
Emotion.
there are occasions when people, you can see when I
Right.
teach to people, you can see that okay, some people are a little resistant because there's some mental blockage, maybe some emotional blockage
Hmm.
is also there. So it's not always just physical thing, not just about stretching the leg or stretching the body, but stretching the mind too in that sense.
Yeah, we will talk a lot about the emotional and spiritual stuff also, because I'm really interested into both of these aspects. So,
Wow.
yeah. So, like starting again, like how do you feel that, in your opinion, how we can relate yoga with sustainability?
Okay, so see, yoga, many people have this idea that doing yoga or doing this specific posture for this number of time a day or maybe this number of months will give me these many results. It never going to happen that way. That's definitely a big misconception. Yoga, it's a practice that you need to do for a longer time. You need to um, be associated with the practice for longer time. You can't just do it a month or two and then you will be like, okay, completely out of the practice. So you have to see it as a long term lifestyle change, I would say. So with yoga, you can't like if I talk about sustainability. So with yoga, definitely it will bring you good health only if you practice it in a longer term, in long run. Doing 5 or 10 rounds of Anulom Vilom won't give you good lungs. You have to do it in a longer run. So definitely, there's a lot of options in yoga too. You don't have to be in a specific space to do yoga. You just need a mat, you need open space, and you can do it. Unlike like the other physical exercises that are there, like the gyms, they have like equipments, they have other things that are prerequisite for other physical exercises.
Yeah, and also I was thinking that yoga is also a tool that boosts our awareness regarding our surrounding too.
Hmm.
Like yoga in itself is a kind of meditation that we can regularly do or like
Yeah.
perform.
Yeah,
So how do you feel about that?
that makes people, when you do yoga, when you practice yoga, it's so huge. So meditation
Mhm.
is part of yoga, pranayam is a part of yoga, asana or physical practice is part of yoga. There's a lot more to it. So as you said, right, that with yoga your awareness widens up. So in yoga there's this thing called grounding. So when
Okay.
you're, so right now we are sitting, right? You are sitting in a chair, and the moment when you start realizing, when you start becoming more aware, okay, I'm sitting in a chair, my hip, my leg is on the ground, is on the surface. I can feel, the muscles. I can feel how straight my back is. The moment when you start realizing it, that's yoga too. That is being,
Yeah.
you are aware of what's happening right now at this moment. So with yoga, the grounding is something that really would be a differentiating factor, because in exercising you don't really think of what body part, like in that sense, as we do in yoga.
Hmm.
For example, if we are standing, for example, if we do a very basic pose like a mountain pose, so our feet are landed on the ground. It's flat on the surface. The moment you start realizing, okay, that all four corner of the foot is pressing on the ground, you can feel that the muscles are engaged. That becomes a union of your consciousness, that you're aware what's happening in the body and what the body is doing at that very moment.
That's great. And yeah, I think the more aware, like the people who do like regularly perform yoga, they're more bound to be more aware. And like it's a, like a chain effect. Like the more aware you are about the surroundings, you are also about to like harm less the planet. You're about to less harm the planet, and you're to that.
For
Like
sure.
it.
I mean, you won't believe, like there are so many yoga practitioners who turn vegetarian. I mean, it's a very
Yeah,
controversial thing, but you know, as like when you are in practice, you appreciate and you respect the practice so much, because what you eat has so much effect how you practice. So if you're having, meat for dinner and then you do morning practice, it's really hard. You know, your body feels so heavy. And with terms of the mat or the equipment that you use in yoga,
hmm,
so now it's good that we are getting more options of the mat that we use. Earlier it used to be only the synthetic material. Now we are getting jute mat, we are getting cotton made mat. So in that sense, definitely people have more liberty. And when you practice yoga, you also start being more accountable of your own actions, because you will be more aware, like how your actions will, what consequences will there be. So better, you will opt for better, or better availability, like options will be there.
that's it. And like there's a like what do I feel is that there are like whenever we search YouTube or web, there can be hundred to thousands of benefits of doing yoga, and some and there are all claims without any scientific evidence. Some say that it can improve your eyesight. Some say that it can help to, what do you say, prevent hair loss. And like there are like all of the information is so spread and what do you say, unvalidated and all that. So since you're practicing yoga from such a long time, and you're also teaching to the people, in your experience, what are the real benefits of doing yoga? And part B of the question will be that are there any myths regarding yoga that you feel that are widely prevalent?
Right. Okay. So, firstly, if you like really go and look into the research which are done in yoga, you will find a lot of research regarding, like, okay, people or patient with this health condition, going through like 6 months of yoga trial period, and these were the results. You see them, but yoga is always used as a complementary therapy. Yoga in itself will not cure somebody. That will be beneficial, that will facilitate or help, or maybe promote the treatment of that very ailment, but it cannot be the cure. It works, like you have to take medicine. For example, if somebody has hypertension, you have to follow up with the prescription along with yoga. If you do it, possibilities are that maybe in long run your blood pressure may not shoot that very often, or it won't go that very high, or possibilities are your dosage won't increase. So in that sense, yoga helps. Yoga should, in my sense, in my opinion, it should always be taken as a management too. It cannot be taken, or it cannot be, portrayed as something that you can cure things with. If you don't have anything, if a healthy being does yoga without any hypertension issues, without any diabetes issues, possibilities are they might not develop those conditions in longer run. So in that sense, you can say that it works as a cure, but technically it's just a management. You won't go to the point, you won't harm your body to the point that you develop that very ailment or that very issue, right? And then the second part was, what are
Like, are there any myths regarding yoga that you feel are widely
yeah,
prevalent?
like they're like very like many research. If you look online, like yoga can help you cure cancer or help you cure this or that.
Hmm.
Again, I mean, it's just very far-fetched. It's there's no science behind it, and it's a very wrong way of selling or portraying yoga, because you are basically diverting person's the path basically he was taking for the treatment. Definitely, you can, people should do it on a regular basis, as again, as a management tool, as a more of a recreational kind of a tool, but not as a cure. I mean, if I say that, for example, if somebody has thyroid issue and they are diagnosed early and they start off with a certain yoga practice, definitely the basically they will what will help, the yoga will help to basically activate the gland if it's needed, or if the gland is overactive, it will help to bring it back to the normal. and then when you do the medication along with it, it will be much easier for you to bring it down much sooner, much efficiently. Yeah, and along with that, I mean, when you talk about myths about yoga, people just think that yoga again is just a physical practice. People just think again it's just, you do breathing, you do pranayama, or you do meditation, and it's all done. But the thing which I feel personally is, it's very important to see yoga through a different microscope, because it's really important to see yoga from the point of view how the human body works. I think we also talked about this earlier, like how the human body, how the human anatomy works. If you see it that way, it becomes much easier to help people manage their pain, manage their diseases in much better way.
So yeah, I'm like there might be many rumors, but there are of course some benefits of doing yoga. But it's like a complementary what do you say thing that people can do. It's not a substitute for like
It's not a
medicines or medic.
substitute.
It's
It
not
can
a
never
substitute
be
for that.
taken like a substitute, especially when you are having a problem.
Hmm. Great. And also, Surbi, I was searching the internet, and there was also a talk about trauma sensitive yoga. And
Mm-hmm.
can you tell us something about that too?
Yeah. So, if I talk about my academics, I have done my master's in psychology. So that's how I'm a little bit more into yoga and the benefit of, mental health and yoga, basically benefit of yoga in terms of mental health. So, good thing is that in recent years, there's this new, basically a term and a practice of yoga which has been, developed by psychologists, by psychiatrists, that is called trauma sensitive yoga. So if I say, like, in a layman's term, the way you conduct a class, the way you speak to your students, the way you speak to your clients, it will create a lot of difference. If a teacher says, like, okay, you will do, or you will hold this posture for like 10 seconds, or maybe for 10 breaths, versus if somebody say that, can we please hold this off, can we try holding this posture for 10 breaths or 10 seconds, that makes a little bit of difference, right? You will feel more, that you have more authority of what you're doing in that very yoga session, in that very class. So the very first beginning of trauma sensitive yoga is how you communicate. Because if you see, like, any fitness class versus a more trauma sensitive fitness class, the difference is always this: your trainer will ask you to, okay, let's do these many repetitions. They will basically, kind of in an authoritative term, we will do these many repetitions today, or we will do these many surya namaskar today. So that is one thing that creates a big difference in trauma sensitive yoga. The other thing is that it really talks about the mind body connect, how you basically connect your mind and your body. So when you must have seen and must be aware of a lot of psychotherapies, right? They
Hmm.
basically, you do talk therapy in order to help people. So
Right.
in that, you are using talk, you are using, basically cognition, you're using mental
Right.
stimulation for the well-being, to help them better. But in trauma sensitive yoga, the idea is that when you can use the body in order to help with what the person thinks. Basically, if somebody is anxious, you will always see, or if a person is not very comfortable in a situation, how they do, their body language totally changes, right? They will take up less space, their shoulders will round, their back will round. But the moment when person is excited, more confident, their
Hmm.
body language is very different, right? So the same way, and you must be aware, right? Sometimes, if you, before maybe some speaking session or anything where
You're
you
right.
need to be facing audience, if you just stretch the body a little bit, you will feel a lot better. So that kind of effect you expect from trauma sensitive yoga. But again, a lot of work needs to be done, a lot of awareness needs to spread. It's something that, for sure, will be there in future and should be there in future, more in practice. But it needs a very different skill set for a yoga teacher in order to get into that sort of teaching, so in that sort of practice, because one wrong word you say, it might just affect the person you are dealing with.
So, like Sobi, what are the people's what is the target audience for this trauma sensitive yoga? Like, what?
It can be anybody actually. I mean, so, but primarily it was designed, primarily it was developed for people who have, issue, because many a times doctor themselves say, people, if somebody is who having depression, who having anxiety, that okay, you can try yoga, maybe you can try meditation, doctors recommend that. But what
Right,
happens, the regular yoga class that you go into, it may not be the right fit for them, because it may not, because because yoga is seen like a physical practice, the teacher might ask you to, do physical practice, which will again be a little bit stressful to your body, because exercising
right.
is actually a little bit stressful to the body, but in a good way. But if somebody's already stressed out a little bit, already
Hmm.
not in, that happy mindset, it can affect them a little bit more. They might feel that okay, if they might compare themselves with the fellow practitioner. But in trauma sensitive, it's more welcoming in that sense. It's slower paced as compared to the main motive is to make that make that person feel more comfortable, and to be able to expand and be able to move their
Hmm.
body in a way that is good for them, not good for their physical well-being, but for their mental well-being. That is one major difference. And yeah.
Yeah, like special, what do you say? Special attention is given in trauma sensitive yoga, and it also have a separate, what do you say? Uh, the way that the teachers
Yeah.
guide and everything is it's totally different from the normal yoga.
Yeah, they will be aware of how to teach yoga, like the basics of yoga, but
Mm-hmm.
the communication part of it, obviously a bit of psychological, like how, the repo building and all that
Right.
stuff, that is really needed.
Right, great. So, also, so as we all know that after COVID and the world is now centered around remote working or work from home, like is all around the world, and
Uh-huh.
due to which youth find somewhat difficult to maintain proper postures while doing their work. So, how people can take care of the human anatomy as you mentioned before?
Yeah, that's something that I come up, like a lot of people come up to me with like a lot of back and shoulder issues, and that again because of a lot of sitting. Right, we have,
Right.
screen in front of us, and we sit for like 2 3 hours in one go, and that's like a lot of sitting, and that's not good for back at all.
I'm also
So
one of them.
so best advice would be just to take break every 30 minutes. That would be just
Okay.
take a break, come out of that sitting posture, that very portion, just stroll around for a minute or two, and then you can resume your work. That will be like that's really helpful for that's like the simplest thing that you can do. The and the second thing is to keep the posture correct, because many times it's just the posture which brings the misalignment. If you're somebody who leans on one side, a lot of people lean on one side, what will happen that the one side of the body will be more tensed up and the other side of the body will be more stretched. That again will bring a lot of imbalance. So I do get a lot of people who have issues because of misalignment, and you wouldn't believe, like, it takes so long to fix that issue. I mean, because you've been sitting in that very posture for so many years, for say, like you've been in that posture, you've been doing that sitting job maybe for 10 years, 15 years, and you have regged your body over that period of time. So the healing of it will also take some time. So I
and
you
and also what are the effects it does to your body like over a period of time if we like maintain a wrong posture, what are the
Mhm.
things like negative effects it can do?
A lot of limitation in terms of mobility will be there. That is one of the biggest challenge. A lot of people, like, there will be people, like, if they have like shoulder, like some misalignment around the shoulder, okay, I can go up till here, but I can move my shoulder all the way back. that will start giving them pain. Or if this the one of the most like the frequent thing that happens is the muscle pain that comes, and it will be like like it will keep getting worse and worse because you're not stretching that very muscle, so the tension in that muscle will keep on building. So if you sit for an hour or so, you will end up again having like pain in the shoulders and back every day.
Hmm.
And definitely it's not like pretty thing to deal with. In so many ways it is going to disturb you, like mentally also the work efficiency will be disturbed. So yeah, a little bit stretching. It's not even something super crazy that you need to do in order to fix the wrong posture. You can do a little bit of stretching, a little bit of movement that will bring back the mobility or elasticity of the muscles.
Because like when I like see all my cousins flying around and they do work from
Mhm.
home, so what they tell me generally is that they are sitting for like 6 to 8 hours straight attending meeting and all that. So rather than being this, it's a more comfort position to be in it. So and like while doing the meeting, so what are the things that they can do apart from that the 30-minute break?
Number one thing is, a little bit of strengthening is needed. Always the back issues or neck issues, it always happen because the muscles are weak in that very area. So very basic exercises like holding plank,
Okay.
doing plank is like a something that almost everybody knows, right? So you can do
Yes.
plank, maybe start with 20 seconds hold and then go gradually, you can move ahead and it won't take much time. I don't know whether you can, but if you're working from home, definitely you can do it inside your home, but not
Right.
in the
Right.
office.
Right.
A little bit
Right.
of twisting, the pelvic
Like
rotation.
stretching and all that.
Yeah, a little bit of pelvic rotation really helps to move the whole pelvic joint. Also to stretch the back a little bit, lower back a bit. A little bit of shoulder movement is like really great because somebody who works on desk, it's something that's like the second most common place you end up having pain. And obviously the neck movement, because again it will help not to develop that condition into something major like cervical.
Right.
So again, doing stretching, doing strengthening is the key for better, mobility in long run as well, and also managing the pain that you get out of it, and not developing those conditions to something serious that may need,
Right.
yeah.
Right. That was great and really informative. And I will like send these tips to my cousins also. Apart from that, there's also a relation between yoga and food, as you
Mhm.
previously told, that
Mhm.
a proper nutrition really transforms the way we do yoga and other activities daily. So, how do you feel the importance of proper nutrition and proper
Mhm.
diet? And can you give us some tips regarding that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not even like for yoga specifically. If even if you're not, sorry, if you even if you're not doing yoga, you will need proper nutrition in order to sustain a healthy life. Because so with yoga, definitely what you eat will reflect in your practice. This is something very common among the practitioners. So the food, having a balanced diet, basically people have a lot of misconception about when you speak diet plan, when you talk about meal plan. So it doesn't have to be anything fancy. Number one thing to me, I think it's very important that you are committed. You need to have that mindset, okay, that I'm going to eat right. And eating right doesn't mean that you have to eat some fancy stuff which is healthy or instagrammable. In that sense, you can have your normal roti sabzi, but it's very easy, to just go and do Zomato, order from Zomato or order
Right.
from Swiggy. Refraining yourself from doing that very often, like once in a month, is a good thing. It's totally okay. But if you are somebody who does it like twice a week or maybe every other day, that is not right. You have, because that's just a craving, you can overcome that. For that you need that very mindset, you need to be committed to that. So for meal plan, for healthy meal plan, it's just having regular food that is healthy, which is a good proportion of sabzi as well, good proportion of dal as well, or um, if you have non-veg, having that in right proportion. and having the roti or the carbs, not too much because Indian meal plan it's a
Right.
little bit more heavy on carbs. So like possibly for somebody of my weight and height, possibly one chapati in one meal will be good enough in order to give me enough carbs. But having more of sabzi and more of dal is needed, because that is something like a lot of people have. Like I have people, and if I ask them, okay, send me a picture of your meal, it will be like a little bit of sabzi. It won't work. It won't give you enough nutrition. And also, going up on your salads is really important. We don't do that. That's like biggest like mistake we do, because if you're not taking enough salad, enough rough fish, it definitely you will end up being hungry like sooner, and then you're gonna crave more, food. Like you will just go and order from Zomato or something because that's easy.
And also, Surbi, like I was reading somewhere that yoga is also for to be healthy, to maintain a proper healthy diet and nutrition. There's also some recommendation that we shouldn't eat after 7 p.m., 8 p.m. So, is there anything you would like to talk about?
See, with the timings, I mean, if the life today is very different from what it was
It
earlier.
used to
Like
be, right,
like
right,
when,
right.
because if you get into like proper yogic diet, proper yogic lifestyle, it's very hard to follow these days. People still does, but it's really hard to follow with the social life and with our current life situation. So definitely eating on time. It could be anything. For possibly for someone it could be like 8 p.m. dinner, or someone it could be 9:30 dinner timing. That is totally okay, but the point is that you don't keep on munching every hour, every 2 hour, every 3 hour. So that is something that really wrecks up the body, because see what happens when you eat possibly every 2 hours, every 3 hours, you will stimulate the hormone inside the body. Your digestive system will be awake again. It won't get enough rest, which is
Hmm.
needed, because again it's part of the body. It needs rest to function properly. So definitely you must have read about intermittent fasting. That's I
Right.
mean that's like 12 hour and 8 hour window, all that stuff. So you can keep up like 10 hour window, that is healthy and doable at the same time. But just don't eat in between like every 2 hours, every 3 hours, because it will just wreck up your like it will just shoot up your insulin high. It will just wreck up the completely activate the hormones
So,
which you may not intend.
having a proper schedule, eating on the same time every day can also help uh,
If you
for
can
doing
do that,
that.
that will work definitely. But usually it's little bit hard. But if you can, like if you
Right.
can keep up with the 10 hour window, and if you eat like three proper meals and maybe one
Mm-hmm.
snack in between, that should be the best thing. The important thing which I felt which really works is to cut down the sugar. I mean, that sounds like a colossal thing to do, but that really works super well. Like if you cut down the white sugar from your diet, I mean that really, I mean, you will be like surprised with what kind of benefits you will start experiencing, because you will feel more energetic
Right.
once you do that. It seems to be a really tough thing, but it really changes so many things in so many ways.
And I also feel that sugar is a energy sucking monster.
Mhm.
So, and it also, when you eat sugar, it also, we also crave more of sugar and I think more of food after that.
Right. More of sugar, definitely. So I personally don't do white sugar most of the time,
Refined
but when
sugar.
yeah, I don't do
Right.
like if I'm having tea, I will not have sugar in it. Or I mean, that's the only thing that you would generally. I mean, I'm not like we don't have like too much of dessert, but if you
Right.
do, like for example, if I had some dessert today, then I might crave it the other day as well. So it will stay with you for a couple of days until okay, you completely get off sugar again. So it's like a cycle. So you have to be first of all be aware. Okay, this is how the body and sugar reacts, and
Mm-hmm.
once you're aware, okay, this is like a normal thing because you had sugar earlier, that's why you're craving it more. It's not I mean,
Right.
sometimes people end up having because okay, it's totally okay if we have a little bit of sugar, but that little bit of sugar will again like shoot your insulin so high, and a lot of people with fat loss issues. That is the main thing that happens because they do sugar with their tea, with their milk. You can have stevia, you can have
Uh,
stevia, fine.
Jaggery,
Jaggery
and
again,
all the.
it is better option, but again it will shoot up the insulin. So the point
Okay,
is to keep the insulin in check in the right amount. And because when you do sugar, for example, if I had sugar today, then possibly my weight loss or fat burning hormone will stay inactive for another 2 days. Okay, I hope that's
right.
not complicated. So somewhat for that time, so basically it just stimulates certain hormone, and it would not let the other hormone, the fat burning hormone, to function. So it
Okay.
works that's why so many people have trouble with weight loss sometimes,
Hmm.
because yeah.
And also, like, talking about the point of interest
Hmm.
that I have, and that is about the emotional and spiritual effects of doing yoga. So let's talk about that too. So what are the spiritual and emotional effects that you have felt throughout your experience and all that?
Right. So the first thing, I mean, if I talk about like how it changed my life, to be on like changing, yeah, in a way, changed my life. That definitely you become more aware of yourself, of your own emotions, and what's happening around you. That's like one of the biggest takeaway from yoga you can get. So I used to tell it to my friends also when I was in college, and I used to go for like early morning yoga classes, like 5:30, 6 a.m. in the morning. So before you go for the class, early morning, it's like, yeah, like you have to get up early and go to the shala. And then once you're out of, once you're done with yoga, it's all unicorn, it's all colorful. So it feels good once you are done with the practice.
Hello, hello, Surbi, are you able to hear me right now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm sorry, there was a network issue.
Okay, okay. No problem.
Yeah. So, like, can we
Yeah.
start from the like starting, please?
Yeah, right. Sure. So I was just saying that when I used to go for like early morning classes, so when it will be like struggle to wake up and go to the class, but once you're done with the class, it will be like all colorful. It will be all like nice and unicorny kind of a thing you will feel. So it really lights up your mood. It really makes you lively. Definitely, yoga made me less reactive to situations in a good way. It's not that I wouldn't respond, but reacting is very different than responding. So you will be less reactive to situations. You will be much much more calmer. Like definitely, it's like a biggest takeaway from yoga. You become so much calmer. Like there are people who would say like, okay, we don't even feel angry. We don't even feel that we are getting angry that often. So definitely, emotionally, it really helps. You become more connected to your own self in terms of how you
And
feel.
stable, and stable too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Stable, definitely. I mean, stable as stable, like as in what?
Like, as in, for example, you are, as you told that we are more less likely to react to the situations, and as we told about the awareness part. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we know that we are surrounded by some toxic people around us who want to, what do you say, who want to poke you, who want to get out some reactions from you. So it also make you some sort of aware about that too.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, in that sense, yeah, because you are aware, right? Okay, this person
Right.
is somebody who does that to me, so you will be more
Hmm.
aware, and that will be an aware and conscious decision for you not to interact or not to entertain that person beyond a point. It doesn't mean that you're being rude to that person. It's just that you are
Hmm.
respecting your own sanity and your own emotions and not really getting into that stuff. Definitely, in that sense, I think that is something we all need more these days. And when you talk about
Yeah.
the spirituality part of it, definitely it's like a new thing for me, because when you practice it, then only you will realize. You will read a lot about in the book, you will read a lot about in like really good books, and you will listen to people's experience. But when you practice it, because when I first started yoga, I never did it for the spiritual benefit of it. I never started yoga for that. But now, slowly and steadily, I just start realizing that how I am getting more inclined towards spirituality. Not religion, but towards spirituality.
Right.
And it is really fascinating, actually. I never thought that I could be that person who would be like, into that kind of stuff. But yeah, because when I'm on the mat, it's like a meditative space. It's like I'm in some other zone. It's definitely feels amazing. I can't really express it in
Elaborate
words.
into it.
Yeah, it's a really surreal feeling, because spiritually you feel connected. Okay, there is, you're connected to your own self first of all, and then this whole grounding thing and being aware of yourself and surrounding also works. So all connected, definitely. Definitely there are people who does a lot of meditation and a lot of
Right.
pranayama specifically. They do feel
Mm-hmm.
or experience a lot of things of that nature. Do you do meditation by any chance?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I
then
do it daily.
daily, great. Definitely, then you know how it feels basically when you are completely like you
Like
you
you're
feel.
submerged into like nothing. We can say it like it is nothing out there. Like the reason we can't express that situation is because it is really nothing out there.
Yeah,
At
yeah,
that
it is
point, there
you.
is nothing in your head and emotions, and it is like a blank space that you
Right.
may be like witnessing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Wow.
And yeah, and so that was a great overview about the emotional and spiritual benefits about the yoga. And I also wanted to know that for our viewers, how we can incorporate yoga in our lives, in our daily life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, these days we are fortunate enough that we have so much of information related to yoga. Ever since Baba Ramdev's like live TV. I mean, I've seen my family doing their yoga when I was young, like on screen using television. So that was like definitely a really big step in terms of yoga culture in India, because after that only
Right.
people in India started doing yoga. So first thing is for me, I think if you do basic Surya Namaskar every day, Surya Namaskar is something that is very something people are aware of. So doing it
Right.
on every day could be good enough workout for most of us. Like if you do it maybe 10 rounds of it, or maybe to begin with 5 rounds of it, should be
Hmm.
good enough, because it's very wholesome in so many ways, and doing very little. So these are called sukshma vyayam. So basically, you move or you basically do the mobility exercises of your each and every joint in the body, starting from the neck, shoulder, your elbows, waist, wrist, knee to the ankle. So those are really helpful in avoiding any issues like arthritis. I had when I was when I was working in the clinic, there was this girl. She was young. She was very young, in her early 20s, and she was having like really severe arthritis issue.
Okay.
And the only thing she could do was the rotation, and that is the only thing that could be beneficial in arthritis. Yeah, and apart from that, as you said, you do meditation every day. So meditation is again part of
Hmm.
yoga, something that will really help you to keep your emotions in check, keep your also it helps to be more focused in work as well. It's not just keeping emotionality in check, but also it helps so in so many other dimensions of our own life, work or relationships. So yeah,
It
for me, if I
basically helps us in like clearing the clutter and sorting out our emotions and
yeah, once
like
once you're
finding out who we are in actually.
right, yeah, right, definitely.
and
So I
and also about like pranayam and anulom vilom, like people can practice that too.
yeah, I mean, for me, I think first is to do the Sukshma Vyayam if you are into it.
Okay.
Doing that. Secondly, doing Surya Namaskar. Thirdly, to
Hmm.
do a bit of core exercises. That is really important.
Okay.
That will be preventive for issues related to weak muscles. That could be the back or neck pain, anything like that. Then definitely you can do pranayama. These are like the four things. And fifth, if people are interested, if somebody is interested, you can definitely go for meditation. So in pranayama, gladly we have like so many options to pick up on. And recent times, like after COVID, like people are more into opting for only pranayama class. So definitely, it really that is a good addition to your daily life. It's not much. It
Right.
won't take much time. Sometimes people don't end up in a class or don't do yoga because they think that's like it will
Hmm.
take 1 hour. You have to commit like
Right.
1 hour every day. That's not true. You can do like 20 or 30 minutes of a daily practice. That is good enough.
Or we can start with like 5 minutes or 7 minutes, like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Like
definitely.
it's about starting, and I think once you start it and you do it consistently, then you will yourself feel the result, that yeah, it's doing something good to our body and we can increase it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. If I say Surya Namaskar, if you do 5 rounds of Surya Namaskar, it won't take more than 10-15 minutes. And that in itself will make you sweat. Like if you're a
Right.
beginner, that in itself will make you sweat. That will be a good workout for the day.
And also, Surbhi, one more thing, that since we are talking about Surya Namaskar and all that stuff, uh, I also believe there is a relation between breathing and doing
Mm-hmm.
the what do you say postures. Like
Right.
in Surya Namaskar, when you do certain postures, you have to breathe in, then
Mm-hmm.
breathe out, and it should be aligned with the steps.
Right.
So, can you tell
Yeah.
more about that?
Yeah. I'll just tell you like the basics of it. If I, for you to understand why it's done a certain way, is in certain postures, for example, when you're bending forward, or that is the step 3 of Surya Namaskar when you're bending forward, Padhast.
Right.
Your chest, your lungs are basically are compressing. So that is the moment you cannot inhale, anatomically speaking, right? So that is the moment when you exhale in yoga. The moment when you're getting in bhujangasana, where your hands are on the mat, your chest is lifted off the ground, your chest have
Right.
enough room to expand. That is the moment when you inhale. So that is the basic the biomechanics, how the body works in yoga. That's why in certain postures you inhale, in certain postures you exhale out. So I would not say that's the general rule of thumb, but most of the times the postures where you are bending forward, for example, Paschimottanasana, where your legs are straight and you're bending forward.
Okay.
Again, you will exhale out because the body will compress. And then when you come out of the posture, you will inhale because the body will have ample room to expand when you inhale. That's like a, yeah. So basically, that's how and why breath and what like the movement works. Apart from making it like the moment you start incorporating your breath and movement, you become more aware. That is like the another aspect of it. You will become more into your practice, present into your practice.
Yeah, great. And I also believe that it is not yet compulsory, but it makes whole of our yoga experience more effective overall. Like
If
breathing
you,
it
if
in a
you,
right way, right?
yeah, if you're not really focusing on your breath, it won't be yoga. I would say.
Okay. And come again, what you were saying?
I was saying that if you're not, if you're not incorporating your breath with movement, that won't be
Okay.
yoga. So
Okay.
yoga, for yoga practice, for yoga asana practice, the breath, the combination of breath and movement, it has to go together.
Okay.
In gym you will find people doing repetition after repetition, but there's no
Mm-hmm.
breath work involved, right? But in certain yoga practices, breathing is really important. Like, it's like the essence, because it really combines. For example, I teach more of vinyasa class. So in that, you breathe and you move. So inhale, you lift your leg up. Exhale, you bring it back, and so on and so forth. So you basically do one breath, one movement thing. You can, there's also breath holding, retention of the breath involved. So definitely, if
Right.
there's any physical exercise without breath, that is not yoga.
Right. So basically, it is mandatory, and to do yoga, it is the tip that Survi is giving us, and that is the first step. That is, you have to be aligned with the breath and the movements. It should be
Mhm.
aligned for
Right.
doing that.
It is hard. I know in beginning it's pretty hard. So
Initially, it is hard. So you have to do it compulsorily, or you have to
it's like you have
focus
to be
on that.
more aware. It's not like
Right,
compulsory,
right,
but
right,
you have to be aware.
right, right.
Yeah.
And that was it. Thank you, Surbi, for giving us such a wonderful session. And is there anything you want to share with our audience? And how was your experience with the session?
Oh, thank you so much. I just hope I ended up answering the questions that you put on, like, in a right way, so to speak, so that
Right.
it's more uh, you can
It was
understand and
really
relate.
informative. And it really helped us to clear some doubts. And basically, it helps us to relate yoga with sustainability, which is also an essential part that it should be covered globally, more globally,
Yeah.
because since we have a World Yoga Day on 21st of July,
Yeah.
and it's really 21st of June, so it's
June.
really right. So it's really important for that.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, I'm really glad that you put on the questions, you put up the questions which were, in like basic and very much needed, because there's so much of misconception, like wrong idea associated, like wrong information. So I hope that was useful in that sense.
Right. And that was it. Thank you, Surbi, for coming for this session. And thank you, guys. That was it. Meet you for the next session again on the next Wednesday. And that was a really informative and a really enlightening talk that we had. And we hope that we invite Surbi you again for the next talk on a different topic, and we can have a more chit chat on that.
Great, great. That was super great. Thank you so much. Looking forward for it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.